Pipe Crusher, and you're watching Trad Method Monday with Spawn of People.
What's up, guys? Peepo here, and on this Trad Method Monday, I'm going to be continuing a series of basically a tutorial. If you haven't gone back and checked it out, we're going to be working on what's called the Shakedown traditional pocket, and once it's finished, it will have 2 leathers instead of 4. But today is just a quick little overview on how I plan to do my sidewall for my pocket on this Rebel offense from ECD. I started it on a different head for the first video, but that was a while ago that I did the first video. But so I already did one sidewall. We're gonna go over how I did this sidewall, and at the end there will be a quick little thing of pictures so that you see exactly pretty much what I did, and so you can pretty much do this on your own, whether it's a walkthrough with me since I have a string here where I'm going to do the other side, or you take the pictures and do it yourself. But so main reason why I do my sidewall this way, which basically what I do is I start at the bottom of the head and string up the head and then wrap around the string that I had initially done and then tie off in the same hole. Main reason why I do that is because I don't really like a whole lot of stuff going on at the top of the head. I don't like, if I can help it, I try and do my stringings to where there's only a very small amount of ends or leading ends, tail ends, whatever, ends of my string, so like tied off knots and stuff. I try and do it so there's as little as possible up top, so that there's whatever excess weight is created by these knots or is closer to my hand or closer to the shaft, so that the weight's closer to my hand, and that creates a little bit more feel of the ball for traditional. And it's very minuscule, but I mean, when there's a bunch of string going on with some traditionals, there's knots everywhere, there's all sorts of pieces and whatnot, and you don't really want that up top getting dirty, getting messed up, where a lot of the action happens near the scoop. So this style of sidewall, which I think I've done a tutorial for before, but we're gonna do it again so that you guys know how to do it in this series, because I feel this sidewall configuration will help with this type of pocket. So basically, you go, like I said, you go start from the bottom, go up, start from the bottom, now here, go up, come back down, and you tie off, so that there's pretty much where all the action is, there aren't any knots, or is the least amount of knots. So pretty simple. Do a single overhand knot on a 34-inch length string. In this case, I had to do it was one long string, so it was a little longer than, what is it, 68 inches. But I wanted to use this string, so I did that. But roughly 34 inches. Don't go below 32, because depending on how many sidewall connections you do, depending on how many sidewall holes are in the head, like on a String King, there's 29. If you do this sort of setup, you're gonna have a lot of a lot of connection points, and you don't really want that. Not for this case. But so if you have a rather regular style sidewall configuration, so roughly 18 sidewall holes, you should be able to do this style that I have rather simply. For this head and for this pocket, and for the most part, this is what I do for a lot of 4 leathers, but since this is a 2 leather, I'm trying to have the pocket sit just a little higher. But most of the time, your Shakedown is going to have the sidewall start at the second to last. So imagine this leather not in this sidewall hole. you want the sidewall to start in the second to last hole and then skip your way up until you're either at the second to last at the top or the very last one to start your turnaround. Because the cross lace that you're going to end up doing later in the tutorials for Trad Method Monday is going to end up starting at the very top as well as ending at the last sidewall hole, depending on how you do your leather setup. But so you want to be able to accommodate that string, so you want to leave, in this case I'm doing it a little higher, but you want to be able to accommodate that cross lace, so I left this hole open, even though this leather isn't going to be here by the end of the pocket. But so let's just get into it, get started, and pretty much do it as easy as possible. So you do a single overhand tie off. That's what I'm doing for this because you don't really require a double overhand knot. So a nice single overhand knot, nothing fancy, since we're putting the string through the same sidewall hole at the end of it too. So you feed it through that second to last, or third to last, whatever. You see what I'm doing. You got it? Okay. So start there. Yes, I realize that I could be doing this with a shaft on it, but I don't really feel like doing it with a shaft on it. Alright, so next what you want to do is take your leading end, because this is your tail end, leading end of your string, skip a sidewall hole, go to the next one, so there will be an empty space in between this, go from inside out, and from outside and top in, and it's basically, you're basically doing a knot that you would do with mesh sidewalls. So do it one more time. Make sure it's nice and tight, but it doesn't go to the inside of the head. Okay, you don't want it to. You don't want it to look like this. Okay, see how it's not to the back of the head. When you're tightening it, you want to make sure that it is to the back of the head. Okay, as best as you can, keep it to the back of the head. See how you can see it behind it now? So hold it in place with your thumb so it doesn't shift. Feed it from the inside out, so you're skipping a hole. And do it again. See? Nice and simple. So, main reason why I do inside out is it's rather actually simple. You want the string more or less needs to be a decent thickness, but at the same time you don't want it to be too thin. Mainly because, I mean, it's got to be able to bear the brunt of you catching and throwing and stuff. But the big reason why I string it to the inside like that is because when you're doing the wraparound, if you do it correctly, the wraparound actually, one, it locks the string kind of in place so it doesn't shift inside and out unless you forcibly do it yourself. But depending on how you wrap around that second string, like when you're going back down the side of the head, it will pull the knots to the outside. But we don't want it to go all the way to the outside, so if we string the knots technically going to the inside of the head, if the wraparound going back down is pulling the opposite direction, it's going to more or less naturally keep the string centered on your sidewall. That's why I do it like that. But so, let's see, once you get up to your top, okay, I'm not going to go to this last one, I'm going to go to my second to last one here. Go from the inside out. Once you get to your last one that you want to do, and you pull your excess through, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over top of the string, okay? Come from the inside or bottom out. Make sure you see how that looks. Remember, I'm going to be doing pictures, so it'll be a lot easier to see. But so you go, hold that in place, and you pull through your excess, and it'll look like a nice little spiral. And then what you do is you continue down your knots. You can do, depending on the space that you have between your knots, that when you were going up, you can do 2 wraps, but I usually prefer to just do 1. So it's a nice spiral action going. Feeding it through from the inside out. Skipping to the next one, inside out. I'm not going through the actual plastic of the sidewall. I'm going through the string. So it's just a nice spiral going on. This is more or less to help with the fact that once we end up doing the cross lace, it'll help to keep the cross lace from shifting up and down too much. Shifting of cross lace is good in some senses, but you don't want it to do too much because it causes too much friction, and then this cross lace frays, and then you can't really, depending on the pocket, you can't really fix that. But for this case, it's protecting the string in general, but it also allows things to not shift too much, causing too much friction, and then you have a big problem. So when we get to this last loop, because of the knots, so this one right here that leads to my knot, you're going to continue with the whole pattern that we've been doing, where you go from inside out. By this point, if you've been doing the wraparound correctly, you have pulled down all your excess, and this should feel very solid. Your sidewall string should feel very tight, very solid. Everything's really locked in, which is really good. And as you can see, it's very centered on the back of the plastic. And we do that last wraparound. Now, it's gonna be a little weird, and you'll see in the pictures, but you're gonna go take this last, seem like you're gonna do another wraparound, but what you're gonna do, depending on your sidewall configuration, so on a Rebel you can do this, but some heads, the sidewall holes might be too small or round or whatever, and you won't be able to put your leading end through the original sidewall start point. You might have to go down to the next one. But this is part of the reason why I want that excess hole, because of these leathers, is because if the holes are too small for a second sidewall string to go through, then you have that extra hole for a cross lace, depending on what pocket you do, because you can use this sidewall configuration for symmetrical pockets, so like pitas, trad X's, whatever you can think of, ladder pockets, whatever. But works really well for this one. You'll see why once we do the cross lace. But so I'm going to take my leading end, pull this knot kind of out of the way, and feed it the best I can through the same hole that it originally was. See that? Feed it through. Try and get as much excess as you can from the sides and pull it through, and it'll look like that. See how that's nice and spiraled all the way down? It looks real nice. And then if you're doing it through the same hole, just a single overhand knot keeps it nice and simple. And then you have 2 knots. If you want, you can do that knot around the first knot, so it kind of locks it in place a little more, and then you can singe it and stuff. But that's it. 2 knots through 1 hole, and no excess stuff going on up here to get in the way. All the weight's closer to your hand, and super simple, super easy, and pretty efficient, I'd say. If you use like thicker cord or like paracord, thicker string like top string that most of the time would be used on a girl stick as your sidewall, which I recommend using thicker string for your sidewalls, so especially for trads, so it lasts longer and whatnot. I really recommend that. But if you're not, make sure it's a pretty durable regular sidewall string. But real simple, real easy sidewall for the Shakedown. So if you guys followed along, good. If not, there are pictures coming. So until the next time, this is Trad Method Monday. I'm Peepo. Thanks for watching, guys. I know I'm trying to keep the videos a little shorter, just a little shorter, not too short, but I'm trying to keep them a little short, but get the right information to you, I have to talk a little bit. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll check you later. Before I go, I need to let you guys know that if you watched the beginning of this video, you most likely saw somebody introducing the channel and the series. If you guys want to get in on that, all you have to do is email to me, and I'll have either in the description or at the bottom of the screen, there will be the email that you need to send to. If you want to get in on my videos and introduce the beginning of my video, you just need to email me about a 5 to 10 second video. You guys can be acting goofy, whatever. No cursing, no nudity, no gross stuff, no acting completely idiotic. Just if you want to be funny, you can be funny, but keep it clean, guys. I don't need anything gross or whatever getting me kicked off of YouTube and all that jazz. So, and if it's gross, I'm not gonna upload it onto the video anyway. But 5 to 10 second video of you introducing my channel, just like you saw at the beginning of this one. It can be either Trad Method Monday, or it can be this is such and such and you're watching Spawn of Peepo. If I start a different series later on, if you want to get involved in that video, simply say this is such and such and you're watching blah blah blah, and that's it. That's all you got to do. Or you could do tricks and stuff, stick tricks, trick shots, whatever you want to do, and then say this is such and such. But if you're introducing yourself, make sure it is your Instagram handle or your Twitter handle, and let me know in the email saying which one it is, and then I can put it into the video correctly. So if you guys want to get involved, there you go. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you later.